Hello and welcome to Lead, Learn, Connect, where we explore the worlds of training and coaching and powerful leadership. I'm your host, Alan Krieger, and on this show we talk about not just the how of helping others grow, but behind the scenes work of overcoming challenges and staying connected to what's really important. My guest today is Jyllian Clarke, a leadership coach, speaker, and author based in Maryland. She's the founder of ISO Coaching and Consulting, and she also trains new coaches. Jyllian brings years of experience as an executive in both corporate and public sectors. Whether you're a new trainer, a seasoned facilitator, or just curious about what it takes to thrive in this world, this episode is for you. Welcome, Jyllian.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And thank you for having me on your podcast today.
Yeah, I look forward to talking with you again.
Yeah.
So let's just start right in. You have an interesting name of your company, ISO, in spite of. So talk a little bit about how that name came up and what it means.
Yeah. So when I started my company, I started thinking what really resonates with me, what will resonate with other people. And I'm pretty intentional on things that I do. So I started thinking, what's the impact that I want to have when people just look and understand my company name? And one of the phrases I've always used is succeed in spite of all perceived obstacles. Because I would have people come to me all the time and they're like, oh, I can't do this because of. And I would always say those are just perceived obstacles in most cases. So when it came to naming my company, I thought, what better name to give my company than something that deeply resonates with me and with others, because we have obstacles that we perceive to be holding us back. And so when we move forward, we can succeed in spite of those obstacles. So that's how ISO landed.
Okay, great name. So looking at your own career, what were some obstacles that you succeeded in spite of?
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many. I look at myself and I just think as an individual and as a professional in the workplace, I've just been always evolving. But the one that's really fresh for me right now is when I was in a situation where I was laid off. I was laid off from Amazon. And probably from a career standpoint, that was the most devastating for me because I had been working since I was 14 years old. And suddenly here I was at 50 years old and I didn't have employment. I didn't have, anything that rooted me. And I had always sort of defined and identified myself based on the things that I was doing from an employment perspective. And I really found myself in a space of embarrassment and just really devastated. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I found that I was thinking of myself of being no value to anybody else. My layoff was something that I internalized as a belief that I was no longer of value anywhere to anyone. I wasn't an asset, and I had been called an asset to any organization, for years. And, along the way, I thought, I have to succeed in spite of these things that are happening. There's another calling, there's another path. This, happens for a reason. And so for me, that's probably the most transformational experience that I have where I really put that into use. I had started my company before that happened, and it was a moment for me to lean into the very thing that I believe and that I had been sharing with people. And that is, you're going to succeed in spite of what you perceive to be an obstacle. And so that's been kind of the biggest moment for me to sort of go, okay, I can do this. And I've done it.
So yeah, work is really can be a defining element of who we are. And so what did you find after you left Amazon? What
Yeah.
did you find your value? How did you find your center? What was your new take on yourself?
Yeah, that's such a great question for me. And I'm still evolving from that moment. Like I learned things about myself, but it was a very defining moment for me to step back and reevaluate who I was as a person and where I was anchoring myself. And what I found was that I was really anchored in the external validation. It was accolades that I had received. It's things I was craving, people, saying how well they worked with me or what they learned from me. And I never had really stopped wholeheartedly and fully to really take a look at myself internally. The belief that I was holding on to was that I was of no value to anybody or any organization at that point in time. And when I started to really take that internal look at myself, looking in the mirror and saying, like, who am I as a person? I started to really deeply connect with myself, the traits that I have, the value that I do bring, where I'm most passionate, and the things that don't bring me joy either. And so from that, I was able to really figure out that what I wanted to do was help people. And when I decided, I'm like, no, what really the common thread here is I love to help people and I have great leadership qualities. Those have been highlighted for me. I just had to believe them myself. And when I did that and started to lean into it, I realized that my history put me in a perfect position to be able to help people, um, not just in a way that's like, oh, how can I help you? But in a way that helps people really bring their authentic selves to the forefront and be able to live and lead with confidence and authenticity. And so I started leaning into that. And then I realized, wait a minute, I actually went and got my coaching certification. I started this business and it was only ever going to be kind of a side thing that I did. But I'm like, why not lean into it fully? And at the same time, I had great partnerships with the leadership at leadership and performance. And I reached out to them because I wanted to help people also be able to coach others and be in this wonderful line of work. And so for me, um, it was really a moment in understanding myself and how I could impact the world. So that's where it was.
It's a great journey. Great
Yeah,
journey.
it has been.
And yeah, you mentioned joy, and your book is Pure Excellence: Joy in Finding You. So
Yeah.
it sounds like that's almost what you just talked about. Talk a little bit about the book and what are you trying to share with people there?
I'd love to. One of the things about the book, I've always wanted to write a book, but I always thought, oh, I'll write about leadership or, something. And it became crystal clear to me through my own self-discovery, self-exploration journey that the book was going to be about how to actually find joy in finding yourself and how to leverage all parts of yourself. So, um, when I was going through this moment of needing to deepen connection with myself, there wasn't a book, there wasn't any type of motivational quote or anything like that. And I talk a little bit about this in the book too. There wasn't anything that really readily identified with me that I could pick up and say, okay, this is my path. This is how I'm going to deepen that connection with myself. And so on the other end of this, I decided there wasn't a book for me. There wasn't anything that deeply resonated with me, but maybe from my own journey, I can create something that will resonate with other people and help them along in their journey, no matter where they are in their journey. Some people have a really good understanding of who they are, and it's really just about deepening. And some people, like me, might not have a sense. So the book for me was a way to bring my journey to life in a way that can help others in their self discovery journey. I missed a lot of signs along the way that pointed to who I was as an individual and how to leverage my authenticity. So my book is a way to kind of illuminate that path for others combined with another initiative that I have, which is called I Am Me 100% Validated, which is a trademarked initiative where I walk people and guide people through that self exploration and self discovery journey as a starting point. Because I believe we're all always doing that. So that's where the book came from, and I've gotten great feedback about it so far. I've had people of all different ages can say, "Hey, it made me stop and pause and think about how I'm showing up in the world." It made me stop and pause and think about all the different sides of myself that, I just don't know how to leverage in spaces and never was intentional about leveraging those spaces. So those two efforts combined really is where I'm putting my passion right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you say you also you coach executives, you coach teams.
Yes.
Is this the thrust of your coaching, or do you also talk about just performance, teamwork? What are some of the areas you focus on in your coaching?
In my coaching, I do leadership, performance. Right now, what I'm finding is I love people who might not be, just in the leadership space. They might be individual contributors. And they might just be individuals who are coming really to explore how to deepen connection with themselves, how to live. And that's why I have live and lead. with confidence and authenticity, because when you are connected with your authentic self, you live differently. You live more intentionally. You can understand and live by your values and put boundaries in place that allow you to live and lead in a way that's authentic to the individual.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like a very rich coaching
Yeah.
experience for people to have.
I think so, and I've
Yeah.
gotten great feedback that it's been helpful. Those who are in leadership and those who are individuals coming to me for coaching around self discovery. So great feedback.
And you've worked in as an executive both in the government and and corporate sectors.
Yeah.
How how is that different just in terms of leadership and culture and authenticity? Does authenticity look the same in both? And if you're coaching, how do you adapt to shift between those
Yeah.
two settings?
So that's such an interesting question, because I think a lot of people see corporate and public sectors as different. You know, you've got government, but when it comes to being your authentic self, I think the foundation stays. The foundation is understanding your values, knowing who you are, understanding all different sides of yourself so that you can bring those to work. And so that you can impact the world in whatever way is authentic to you. What I think actually changes is how it's expressed in the workplace. Okay. So in government, it was about demonstrating that unwavering commitment to the public good. It was about having impeccable integrity in that space, and then upholding ethical standards and such that were going to impact an entire society. In corporate, I think the emphasis on customer loyalty and building customer relationships was expanded. So there's an opportunity to be a little more creative, a little more innovative, another way to bring a different side of you into that space in order to be kind of a driver of that customer loyalty. So I think the foundation is the same, but how one expresses it is a little different, government versus private sector.
Okay, good. That's a helpful descriptions.
Yeah.
Um, and so you're shifting gears. You're in your own business now. You're
Mhm.
also working, uh, doing teaching, coaching, and other multiple areas. One of the challenges of being an entrepreneur is balancing work and life. And so, how do you manage that in your process? What are your kind of boundaries or thoughts, or how do you stay authentic in your family as well as in your work?
Yeah. Um, it is sometimes a challenge, but I think I've gotten really crystal clear on what I value and where my boundaries are through the years. And so um, I'm intentional about where I spend my time, and I'm okay with letting people know that my time is not being spent there at this point in time. So that balance for me is about saying, okay, here are the hours where I'm going to be focused on my business. What's really important to me are my clients. So if I need to get back to my clients, I'm going to do that. But then also, I am very communication and transparency are two very big values for me. And so if I'm going to be stepping away or can't deliver on something, I'm very transparent and communicative with my clients about where I'm going to be, what I'm doing, and when they can expect something from me as well. And I also do that with my family as well. And I think it's important. I have three children, and I think it's important for them to understand good work ethic, but having a healthy balance where they understand they're truly my priority, and being able to communicate that and help everyone understand. They don't have to like it, but help everybody understand what my values are and how I'm putting up boundaries in place is very important to me. And I think people appreciate that too. I think it gives them a way to really evaluate where they are and how they're putting their values and boundaries. How well are you honoring your boundaries and your values? And so when I can put that into practice for myself, it's a good thing. And I think it's a good model to be for other people, including my clients.
So, have you had situations where clients push your boundaries, and they need something, you're not really available, and how do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. So What I usually try to do, of course, I do offer with some of my clients an opportunity to have some on demand coaching. And that doesn't mean, and when we are kind of co creating how we're working together in this relationship, I'm very clear that that doesn't mean, hey, if you call me at 10 o'clock, I'll be available at 10:15, but within reason. Generally speaking, I can respond to somebody within about 48 hours. And so they recognize that if they need something, they can call me. And they also know that I will make every effort to tend to them as soon as I can. And it might be right away, and it might not be for another day or so. So it's about managing expectations. And I haven't had any clients that have any issues with those boundaries. And that's how I co-create the relationship with my clients. So,
I
yeah.
like that, co-create. That's a nice,
Mhm.
nice expression there. And then being really clear. You said transparent, really clear,
Yes.
and and firm about boundaries. So both,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. And I'll have some clients that will give me a heads up. They'll send me an email or call and say, I have this really difficult conversation that's coming up or meeting that's coming up. I might need some help. So they'll give me a little bit of a heads up. If you can create some space for me on Thursday or Friday, then, and then I can begin to put some space and say, okay, this will work, but only at this time. And so, it's a great dialogue that I have with my clients, and I really enjoy it, and they're respectful, and I respect their time as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
One of the big challenges of I've been in my own business for a long time, and other guests I've spoken with, filling your pipeline, keeping the flow going, not too much, but enough. So what are some of the strategies you used? You kind of got laid off, you got thrown into this,
Yeah.
suddenly boom, this little sideline became your main job. How did you go about building the pipeline, and what are some things you do that you find effective?
Alan, I'm still figuring it out. I am still figuring out. I'm a little over 2 years in where this is my main focus, and there are ebbs and flows always. So, what I'm generally speaking, I'm looking at when my coaching engagements are winding down. I do a host of other things as well. I do some workshops, I host retreats. And so, I just am really looking at where my coaching engagements are ending. And then shortly, before that, I'm just trying to generate business, word of mouth, some advertising. I leverage some social media, and I'm still figuring out sometimes exactly what works. And then, for me, it's really about getting out there and helping people understand how I can help them. And word of mouth has been great. And then when I have space, I just focus on how I'm evolving as a person and how I'm evolving as a business. What can I do differently? What do I need to get trained up on myself? So again, I'm like constantly looking for ways to improve. Who can I network with? How can I expand my network? How can I partner with somebody else to, bring kind of double goodness to people? So I'm using that time and space if I have a lull to be able to do those things and constantly improve myself, but I'm still learning and I'm still growing and still figuring out what works. One thing that I've been able to really appreciate is how our societal norms and changes affect business as well, because it really is. Driven by what's happening, in the world and in our society. So a lot of people right now don't always want to spend their money on coaching or leader development. And they're not even sure if they're going to have employees from one moment to the next. And so that becomes a really difficult environment. But then, I really lean on the fact of that's when you really want coaching, when you have people who are in this space trying to navigate uncertainty, trying to navigate this tumultuous environment. That's a great place to have coaching in place and help people really filter through what's happening with them and how they're impacting and what their role is and how to manage that, especially leaders. How are leaders managing change? So I really lean into some of these societal changes that are happening.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's people are anxious and don't want to go out, and they kind of pull in,
Yeah,
and both financially and emotionally, just kind of waiting to see where the chips fall, and that's exactly when they need some support. And
exactly.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So you work with new coaches and help them learn the skills of coaching. What are some key advice you would offer that you think new coaches especially need to hear?
Mm. Advice. So I think a key piece of advice for new coaches is to give yourself grace. It is very, it is a mind shift to be in the element of facilitating growth and awareness for somebody else. And I think some new coaches sort of stumble in like, oh, I didn't ask the right question. I didn't facilitate the growth the way that I wanted to. But trust that your client is creative, resourceful, and whole. And sometimes as coaches, we think we have to ask a perfect question in order to facilitate that insight and awareness. But sometimes the clunkiest questions generate just the most resonance with our clients. And so, I oftentimes find that I'm telling my new coaches that I train, like, give yourself some grace and, take a moment, just pause, hear what's being offered from your client. You're coaching your client, it's their journey. So be along with them on their journey. Figure out like how you can support them and be in service of your client always. And so that's a different space to be in, especially when you have people who are in this space. They're, high performers. They just want to help and they lean into and kind of think they have all the, questions, and their client brings a problem and they want to fix it for them. But trusting that your client really has the answers, they're the subject matter expert in their own lives. So to be there just to facilitate that growth is so rewarding. So I oftentimes will tell new coaches, give yourself some grace and just be on this journey with your client. It's so rewarding.
Yeah, it's great answer. That yeah, a new coach, you want to have just the perfect question. I just want to, boom, this is going to solve everything, and
Yeah,
it's a journey, and we need to take some time.
it is. It is. Staying curious is, it's like what's happening with your client. And when you stay curious, you're in that space of being able to facilitate that journey for your client.
So, and speaking of journey, we're just about out of time.
Okay.
It's been a great conversation. Anything you want to talk about that's coming up new for you or exciting in the future?
Um, you know what? Thanks for the opportunity to do that. I appreciate that because what I'm building right now is a community around excellence in action. So what I've found is that we all don't start from a place of we are excellent, and we really are. And that's what there's a purity about us, and that's why I called my book Pure Excellence. And it's the joy in finding you because it's about rediscovering and discovering. And so when you find that place, being able to be at a point of excellence and doing something with that excellence is so important to me. So I'm building a community around that right now. And so stay tuned. I hope to be bringing that pretty soon, but it's about building that community and helping to have a safe and a psychologically safe environment where people can grow and have a network of support from others who are in this same space.
Community of joy and excellence. I like that.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Jillian. That's it for today's episode of Lead, Learn, and Connect. A huge thank you to Jyllian Clarke for sharing some great insights into her approach with coaching to make an impact. If you found this helpful, please be sure to subscribe, share it with a colleague, and leave a review. You can find out more about Jillian's work, her book, and additional resources in the show notes. And if you're ready to strengthen how you teach or coach communication, click the link to our website to learn more about the T.E.A.M model of communication and follow us on LinkedIn. Until next time, keep leading with intention, keep learning, and keep connecting. Thanks for listening.